What is up, you spooky bitches? We are back and we have another episode of the Hello Sidney podcast here, a podcast for horror lovers where we discuss any and all things horror. And it's me, your girl, Sidney. What is up, everybody? Happy end of March. Happy end of 2000s core week, which is really heartbreaking to me. Month. End of 2000s core month. It's heartbreaking to me because I have had so much fun doing these episodes. This has been an absolute blast, and I will absolutely be doing another 2000s core month in the future because this is just too great, and there's still so many movies that I have to cover. So I've had a blast. I hope you guys have had enough fun, as much fun as I have. I am going to be giving you the lineup for April at the end of this episode. April is my birth month, so the theme of the month is just my favorites because I'm a selfish bitch. But I'm just kidding because personally, obviously, I think all the movies I have in this lineup are also fucking bangers, but that's because they're my favorites. So I'm a little biased, but I do have a special announcement about April as well. So stay tuned. We'll get to that at the end. But for now, I thought it was only appropriate if we ended 2000s core month with one of the quintessential 2000s staples. And I'm talking about none other than Sorority Row from 2009. This movie, in 2009, I would have been 14? I remember seeing this movie in the theater with my friends because this movie is rated PG-13. So there was like this renaissance of movies in the 2000s that were rated PG-13. And this movie specifically was originally supposed to be rated R, but it saw the success of Prom Night 2008, which we also covered this month. And it saw the success of it, even though people say Prom Night sucks and wasn't successful, but whatever. Sorority Row, the creators saw it and were like, you know what? Maybe they're onto something. Maybe we should make this PG-13. And it was a kind of similar thing with When a Stranger Calls, which I covered on Wednesday. Like they all were just like, okay, well, let's make all of these PG-13. And I honestly think it was smart because I remember like groups of my friends and groups of people my age, 13, 14 at the time, going to see these movies with our friends at this age when they came out. And this was like the age of you went to the movies every weekend. Like I literally was at the movie theater with my friends like every Friday night. It was a thing. Like you go to the mall, you go to the movies. It was just what we did. Like the cinema was like a much more common thing, I feel like, back in the day. So I think it was smart. So this movie is also PG-13. So I remember going to see this movie in the theater and like I wanted to be these girls. Like I wanted to be the girls in this movie, which like now looking back at it as an adult, they're all pretty shitty fucking people. But like 14-year-old me was obsessed. I'm like, I want to be these girls or I want to be friends with them. I don't know which one, but I love them for the most part. So this is another one that's very nostalgic to me. And I just think this is a staple. Like you can't talk about 2000s core horror movies without talking about this movie. And it's funny because I think I said in my Wednesday episode too, there was also like a renaissance at this time of remaking movies because I think almost every movie we've talked about this month, with the exception of Dead Silence, was a remake because I totally forgot this movie is also a remake. And I have watched the original, which is called The House on Sorority Row, a long time ago, like probably not long after I watched this movie. And I don't really remember a whole lot about it. It was another one that I think was just really slow and just didn't do it for me. And again, it's probably because I saw this movie first and fell in love with it. But it's there was magic to movies in the 2000s, like especially the remakes. They put some fucking magic in it, and I just think they're better. I just think there's a vibe about them that simply cannot be replicated. And just all 2000s movies in general, there is a vibe about them that is just so nostalgic and so like it makes me want to be back there so badly, unlike anything else, even though horrible things are happening in these movies. But that vibe can never be replicated, and I am truly so grateful to have been alive for it. And like if I ever were to have kids, it would only be because I would want to tell them about these times and like reminisce on these times. Like seriously, I know that sounds really dramatic, but I'm a dramatic bitch, so what do you expect? But without further ado, with all of that being said, let's get into Sorority Row 2009. So the runtime of this movie is about an hour and 41 minutes. It has a 5.2 on IMDb, which I personally think is criminal because it deserves a lot more because I fucking love it. And again, I know I'm being dramatic. Like I know cinematically, this is not like great cinema. It's not at all. But horror wise and like 2000s wise, it's fucking perfect to me. So sorority row opens up and we get this view of this big house. It's going to be a sorority house, of course, because that's where we are. And we hear screaming. So we can't really hear a whole lot, but it seems like it's quiet. And on the outside, the door opens and we hear this girl just screaming, like shrieking. And it sounds like she's dying or like she's getting chased. But then it turns out like some guy just has her shirt and she's like naked. So she's chasing him out and it's like, give me back my shirt. And it turns out it's a sorority party going on in here. And it is just the craziest sorority party you've ever seen because you walk in and there's people like jumping on a trampoline in the middle of the foyer. And there's like feathers everywhere because they're having a pillow fight because it's a bunch of like hot girls. There's like hazing going on, girls making fun of other girls for being fat. I don't know if this still happens in college. I honestly doubt it does. But like at this time, this was literally a problem. Like it's like illegal now, I think, to haze people because of shit that happened like this during this time frame. And then we also see this group of girls doing like a choreographed dance. And let me tell you, movies like this and like White Chicks where they have that dance off in the club really had like 13, 14-year-old me thinking that I was going to get into dance battles when I like went to college or like started going to clubs. Like it set such an expectation. Why did everything at this time have a fucking dance battle? Like it made you seem like you had to choreograph a dance with your friends and be prepared to pull it out on the spot. Why did they all do this to us? I low-key wish that actually did happen because that would have added a lot of spice. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I used to choreograph dances with like my friends all the time, like stupid ass fucking dances. And we would like record them on our camcorder. And we were probably preparing for the club because we thought we had to because of movies like this. But everybody's like making out, people are drinking, this guy is just shirtless and he goes up to this girl who her name is going to be Chugs. She's going to be one of our like main characters. And he asks her for a beer and a BJ. Very smooth, my guy. But instead, she throws a beer directly in his face and walks away. So shout out my girl Chugs. Now, the camera then takes us into the back area, like where the kitchen is, and we meet the house mother, whose name is going to be Mrs. Crenshaw, and she's actually played by Carrie Fisher, who's a fucking icon, R.I.P., but like an icon is in this movie. But a bunch of boys like burst in and she kicks them out. And then we cut to this girl named Ellie. And Ellie, like watching this movie back as an adult, I realize how much I fucking hate Ellie, to be honest. Like she's supposed to be like the innocent little nerdy girl. And I feel like I might be like in the minority for hating her, but I actually can't fucking stand her. So I'm going to slander Ellie as we go throughout this episode, to be perfectly honest. But we meet her and some guy's talking to her. She seems like she's super uncomfortable. She's played by Rumor Willis and she like has glasses. So she just looks kind of nerdy. And another girl calls her upstairs, so she kind of like has an excuse to break away from that guy, so she goes upstairs, and as she's going upstairs, we start to hear a chant, and we learn that this is the Theta Pi sorority. Theta Pi. And Ellie goes upstairs and she follows a girl into a bedroom, and it's this group of 5 girls. So this is our main group that we're going to follow here. So we have Jessica, who is just going to be the absolute fucking bitch of the group, but I love her. So like, again, minority because I love Jessica and hate Ellie, and I feel like it's supposed to be the opposite. And the funny thing is that the girl who plays Jessica, who I think her name is Leah Pipes, she actually originally auditioned for Ellie, which like I cannot possibly see her playing that role. Like that's how well she did playing a bitch that I'm like, you could not possibly play like the nerdy, mousy, quiet, scared girl. There's no shot because she's such like a bad bitch in this movie. So you can tell immediately Jessica is kind of like the leader of the group. Like everybody listens to her. She's probably like the head of the sorority, but they end up like all taking shots and making a toast to each other, and they're like trying to say nice things to each other, which everybody else is, but then like Jessica comes in and is basically like slandering everybody. Like one of the girls, Claire, is Asian and she's like, oh, I don't have to try and be multicultural because I'm friends with you, so thanks. Like, and Ellie's like, that's racist, bitch. But like you could get away with saying shit like that in movies in the 2000s. Like I feel like that so could not be said now. But they end up making a toast to each other and they take this shot, and the group is going to consist of Jessica, who again is like the typical like blonde, beautiful sorority girl, and she's obviously the head of everything. And then we have Ellie, who again is the nerd. We have Claire, we have Chugs, and we also have Cassidy. And Cassidy's kind of going to be like the main character. Like Jessica like thinks she's the main character, but like Cassidy is the main character. So they all take the shot, they're celebrating, and then one of them is like, hey, where's Megan? Because there's a sixth girl that's part of this group. And Jessica is like, oh, well, let me show you something. Let me show you where Megan is. And she pulls out this laptop, and on this laptop is this video. It's like a live stream of Megan making out with Garrett, who is her boyfriend, and Garrett is also Chug's brother. So Garrett is like on top of her, and at first Megan is moving, but then suddenly she just like goes limp. And everybody's watching, like laughing at first, but then they're like, why isn't she moving? And they're like, oh, we gave him a roofie to slip to her. You gave him a roofie? Like, you allowed him to roofie your friend? So, like, this is what I mean when, like, at the time, I'm like, oh my God, I want to be friends with these girls. And now as an adult, I'm like, no, the fuck, I do not. But they all kind of just, like, laugh about it. Like, they're like, oh, haha, that's such a funny joke. Like, bitch, what? But anyway, so we see that Megan is like straight up unconscious. And then all of a sudden, as Garrett is like making out with her and touching her, she starts seizing and foaming at the mouth. And he panics, and all the girls are watching this and they panic. So they go to run into the room where they know that they are. And they're like, Garrett, how many pills did you give her? He's like, oh, I slipped her the pills. And Jessica's like, I told you to give her one. Like, you gave her all of them? Like, what the fuck, you idiot? So Jessica gives Garrett her keys to go get the car, to like get Megan in the car and bring her to the hospital. And all the girls are panicking, and Jessica goes in to start giving Megan CPR. And all of a sudden, as Garrett's gone, Megan comes to and like starts making out with Jessica. And all the girls are like, wait, what? So like she's okay? And basically Megan's like, Garrett cheated on me. And somebody's like, didn't you cheat on him first? And she's like, besides the point, he cheated on me. So we're playing a prank on him and we're going to act like I'm fucking dead. So everybody's now in on it. So Jessica specifically is like, yeah, Garrett needs to be taught a lesson. And even Chugs, who again is Garrett's sister, is like, yeah, my little brother like also roofied one of our sisters. So like, fuck him. So now you're kind of like, okay, so they didn't have him roofie their friend. It was just a prank. So okay, they're a little bit better. Not really, because they were still all laughing at the fact that he roofied her when they thought it was actually real. So like, still fuck them. But anyway, so they say Garrett needs to be taught a lesson, and we hear Garrett beeping the horn outside. So they're like, showtime. So they grab Megan, who pretends to be like lifeless and dead, and they go outside and they get in the car, and I don't remember who's driving. Claire, I think. Claire is driving, and the car is like speeding down this dark road, and Garrett is fucking panicked and frantic because he thinks he just killed his girlfriend, obviously. So he's freaking the fuck out. Jessica is just like instigating him more because Jessica is like, oh my God, she's turning cold. Oh my God, she's really dead. Like, she's freaking out. Garrett's screaming. Garrett's begging Chugs, like, we have to call mom. Like, he's like freaking the fuck out, which everybody else in this car knows that this is a prank. So they're all trying to like hide their laughter, laughing at Garrett for being freaked the fuck out, because obviously their prank is working. So at this point, Garrett is like, we need to call the cops. Like, we need to tell them what happened. And the girls are all like, no, you roofied her. And who gave you the roofies? Like, we're all going to go down for this. You're not calling the cops. And then Jessica is like, we can make this go away. Which, by the way, at this point, Garrett has tried to call the cops, but his flip phone has no signal. Because again, this is 2009. We're on like fucking Razor flip phones that didn't work even in good service areas. So like in the middle of the fucking woods on this long, dark, winding road, you're definitely not getting service. So Jessica, again, is like, I can make this all go away. I know a place. Take a right up here. So Claire pulls the car off this road into this like remote, dark, wooded area. And it's a mine shaft. It ends up it's a mine shaft, and they pull over. They all get out of the car. Garrett vomits. Like, he's so fucked up by this whole thing. He throws up. And the girls talk, specifically Jessica really is like, okay, well, what do we do with the body? Like, should we chop it in little pieces? Like, obviously, again, knowing that Megan is very much not dead and they're not actually going to do this. So they're like, do we chop her in little pieces? Blah, blah, blah. And Ellie, who is pre-med, is like, well, we should probably puncture her lungs, because if we don't do that, she could float to the top of whatever. So they're like, okay, like, everybody disperse and find sharp rocks so that we can cut up her body. So they all start doing that, and they're all kind of laughing. But then Cassidy finally goes to Jessica and is like, okay, like, this is funny, but how long are we going to keep this up? And as they're having that conversation, we see Garrett in the back go into the trunk of the car and pull out a tire iron. And as nobody's looking, he goes up to Megan's body, who Megan, by the way, her cell phone, she has it turned towards her and is recording this whole thing as a prank, and so that they can like record the prank. And Garrett goes up to her and stabs her through the fucking chest with this tire iron. And obviously she like comes to and starts like gagging, and everybody now sees this because of the commotion, and they run to her. Everybody's freaking the fuck out, and Garrett's just screaming like, there's no air in her lungs, right? Like, I punctured her lungs, there's no air. Like, he thought he was just doing what Ellie had said, like, we should do this. So obviously he did not know she was actually alive, and he has now killed her because they go up to her, and specifically Cassidy is the first one to like jump into action. She's the only one doing anything as everybody else is sitting there stunned. Cassidy takes off her jacket and tries to start like stop the bleeding. So she puts it on Megan. She's trying to stop the bleeding. Megan is choking literally on her own blood. There's blood fucking everywhere. And within like a minute, Megan dies. Megan's dead. Megan is fucking dead. Like she is a puncture through her fucking heart. Like she dies pretty much immediately. So Cassidy at this point has been yelling at somebody to call 911. But again, remember, there's no signal. So they're fucked out here. They can't call anybody. And Jessica is just like watching, completely stunned, crying, as is everybody else. And then Jessica, like once she realizes that she's dead, is like, guys, she's dead. She could not possibly be more dead. So Jessica is the first one to like jump into action and be like, okay, we need to talk about this for a minute. Like before we talk about calling the cops, like we need to discuss this. Because Jessica essentially is like, we're not going down for this because we're going to ruin our fucking lives. And she starts giving this whole speech. She's like, we need to be prepared. If we go back, like we could maybe call our parents, but we're all responsible. We're going to need lawyers. Everybody starts to argue at this point with what to do. And Cassidy is the main one that is like, no, like this is wrong. We have to call the cops. Like we have to tell them what we did. And Chugs and Jessica, mainly Jessica, but Chugs is just kind of like a follower and will do whatever Jessica says. So Jessica starts to hint that they should just leave her here. They should just leave Megan's body here. And Cassidy is completely against this. And Jessica is like, Megan wouldn't want us to go down like this. And she kind of tries to guilt trip everybody, specifically Claire. She's like, didn't your father have a heart attack? Like he's going to have another heart attack if he finds out that you had anything to do with this. And Cassidy argues with her. She's like, you don't care about anybody but yourself. Like, don't try to make it seem like you care about Claire or her father. Like, you're literally just doing this for you. And Jessica just keeps saying, like, we'll destroy our family's lives if we do this. And Cassidy calls her out and she's like, the only reason that you even want to hide this is because your boyfriend's father won't let you be with him if he knows you're responsible for a murder. Like, you're a selfish fucking bitch. And Jessica once again just tells everybody, like, this affects the rest of our lives. And I think we should just vote on it, which Chugs and everybody else mainly agrees. Like, Claire agrees. And Cassidy is like, what about the tenets of sisterhood? And she says 3 of them. And Jessica is like, well, you forgot the last 2, secrecy and solidarity. So, like, we're taking this to our fucking grave, bitch. And Jessica, again, like she's giving this whole speech, and I will give it to her. She's charismatic as fuck, and she gets everybody on her side. Like she totally spins the whole thing. And she's like, if I was Megan, I wouldn't want everybody to throw away your lives for something that cannot be changed and has already been done. So that is like the final thing that convinces the rest of them. And they all decide to put it to a vote. And even Ellie agrees. So Ellie has been just like crying like the little bitch that she is the whole time. Spoiler alert, Ellie's gonna cry through like most of this fucking movie. She's fucking useless. So Ellie's just crying, and at first she was agreeing with Cassidy, but now she's like, I'm on scholarship, like I'm not like you guys, like this will ruin my fucking life. So she starts to agree with Jessica, and Cassidy is like, there's no way out of this. Like you guys don't understand what like a secret like this will, like the amount of pressure this will put on you. Like we can't do this. And how are we even going to get away with this? And Jessica's like, maybe there is a way. And she looks over at the mine shaft. So Cassidy grabs her cell phone and is like, fuck this. And she goes off to call the cops. And Jessica starts to tell the others like what the plan is. She's like, okay, so the whole thing is we last saw Megan at the party and then she disappeared and we never saw her again. And Cassidy is like, you guys can do whatever. Like, I'm calling the cops. And she walks off. And before she can walk off, Garrett gets to her with the tire iron that's bloodied that he just used to kill Megan, despite the fact he didn't know he was killing Megan. But still, it was just used to kill Megan. And he holds it up to Cassidy and like threatens her. He's like, you're not going anywhere. And she just looks him in the eye and goes, what, you gonna kill me too? And just walks away. And Garrett's like a scrawny little bitch, so he's like not intimidating at all. And she walks off and the girls are like, we can't let her call the police. And Claire is like, well, it'll be 3 miles before she can even get a signal, so like let's do this first. So they end up dragging Megan's body over to the mine shaft, and they throw her down the mine shaft along with her cell phone that just recorded Garrett killing her and Cassidy's jacket that she had used to try and stop the bleeding. She is wrapped in Cassidy's jacket and a blanket, and they throw her down the mine shaft. And at this point, Cassidy runs back and she's like, I still can't get a signal. And Jessica looks at Cassidy and is like, well, don't worry. We wrapped her up in your jacket before we threw her down the mine shaft, and we all agreed we won't tell anybody what you did. This bitch. But it fucking works. Like, and everybody else agrees because Cassidy's like, what the fuck? So basically, if she tells anybody, they're all agreeing to tell them that it was her. And even Chugs is like, yeah, like you killed Megan with a tire iron. And Claire chimes in and is like, we're sisters. We won't tell anyone. Like, we'll keep your secret for you. And Jessica is like, we're not going to let this ruin our lives. So like, call the police. That's fine. We're all agreeing to blame it on you. And Cassidy looks at Ellie and is like, Ellie, like you too. And Ellie can't even make eye contact with her. She's a fucking wreck. And Cassidy again is like, do you know what it is like to live with a secret like this? And everybody kind of just looks at her and nobody responds. And Jessica just throws the tire iron down the mine shaft and is like, let's go wash off the blood and go back to the fucking party so we're not suspicious. So they leave, and then we cut to black, and it's 8 months later, and we see that it's actually time for graduation. So they're seniors, and they're now graduating, and we cut to the valedictorian making a speech. And the valedictorian is Andy, who is Cassidy's boyfriend. And then we cut to the group of girls, and we see all of them celebrating. So Jessica, Ellie, Claire, Chugs, but we see Cassidy completely separated from the group. And Jessica kind of looks at her and like raises a glass of champagne, but Cassidy just looks at her and straight up walks away. So obviously she wants nothing to do with these bitches since what happened, because she was the only one against what they did. So we then cut to Cassidy with her boyfriend, Andy. The two of them are like in bed, and Cassidy is explaining how she doesn't want to go to the sorority event, but she has to go because her mother is a legacy, all this shit. And then Andy kind of brings up Megan, and he's like, oh, well, like, I'm sure it's hard for you with like Megan still not being around. And Cassidy just immediately changes the subject. So obviously she is completely distraught by this whole thing still. And Andy is just like, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. So they have like this heartwarming moment. And then we cut to the sorority house for whatever sorority event Cassidy was talking about. And we see her showing up with Andy and her parents, and Jessica comes up and greets them. And she like makes a jab at Andy. She's like, oh, if it isn't the guy who took our girl away from us, like taking Cassidy away, she's saying. And he's like, she's a big girl. Like she can make her own decisions. And like, she didn't distance herself from you because of her boyfriend. She distanced herself from you because you covered up a murder of her friend. And like, and you were going to blame her for it if she did anything about it. Like, you fucking bitch. So the rest of the group is there too, and Ellie comes up to Cassidy, and Cassidy asks where Chugs is, and we cut to Chugs just like making out with this guy. And Chugs is supposed to be like the slutty one, so she's supposed to be like the drinker, the partier, the one that like sleeps around with everybody. And she's making out with this guy, and the guy stops and is like, you kind of taste like vomit. And she's like, yeah, I just threw up, but like I ate a mint, so like it's fine. And she tries to like seduce him to have sex with her, and he just like looks at her and he's like, honestly, like this is kind of gross to me, like I'm disgusted with this whole thing. And she just goes, whatever, not my fault, you're gay, and just like walks away. Like, she's like, okay, whatever, fucking loser. So we cut back to the outside of the sorority house, and Jessica is making a speech, and she's talking about like the tenets of sisterhood, which all 5 of them are trust, respect, honor, secrecy, and solidarity, which is like their motto. It's the sorority house motto. And she also includes in her speech about how the house is currently under renovations, which we pan to the house and we see that it indeed is under renovations on one side of it. And Jessica makes a whole metaphor, like it will be stronger than ever, like our sisterhood. And she also thanks Mrs. Crenshaw, the house mother, who's there and watching the speech. And now as she's giving this speech, Cassidy and the girls look up, and we focus on somebody walking towards them in the crowd, like somebody approaching them, and like with the sunlight we can't see their face yet. But at this point Jessica brings up how one of our sisters is still missing, and we hope she'll come back to us, and this toast is to Megan. So this bitch is really giving a speech saying that Megan is missing, as if they didn't fucking kill her and throw her down a mine shaft and tell nobody. But as they go to toast, they see this girl approaching again, and Ellie just like completely screams and literally faints. And Ellie is just such a fucking annoying bitch to me. I'm sorry. This is just like an Ellie hate episode, but we cut to Ellie like in the kitchen or wherever, and Cassidy's taking care of her, and Jessica comes in like angry, and she's like, who even faints anymore? Which, like, true. Is this a fucking 1930s like damsel in distress movie? And Ellie's crying and she's like, it was Megan. Like, I saw Megan. And Jessica's like, it was Megan's sister, you dumbass. And at this point, Megan's sister comes in and her name is Maggie. And she's like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to scare you, but I'm just here because my parent, like, I think it'll be good for my parents. I'm coming here next year and I'm going to rush Theta Pi. And Cassidy asks like how her parents are. And she just says they couldn't come today because it was too hard for them. So they all look fucking guilty as fuck because they are. And Ellie at that point is like, I'm going to be sick. And she runs off to throw up. Like, nobody makes it more obvious that something is wrong than Ellie. Like, she just fucking sucks. She is the last person you want if you've ever committed a crime. Don't commit crime. But if you do, don't have an Ellie around. So Maggie then asks them if they're having a party that night, which Jessica says that they are, but she kind of tries to like not invite her. She's like, oh, well, according to the rules, you're rushing, so you can't come. And they like, Jessica like gently kicks her out. And after she leaves, Kyle, who is Jessica's boyfriend, and Mickey, who is Claire's boyfriend, come in. And Chugs is telling them, like, they're talking about the party that night. And Chugs is like, oh, well, I got to go to my shrink to get some oxys before the party. And unfortunately for me, he's an ass guy. So it's going to be like pretty uncomfortable for me, which you're like, ugh. Watching that again, like as an adult, you're like, oh my God, she's sleeping with her fucking psychiatrist for drugs. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these girls? These are like college girls too. You're like 21. Like, relax, my girl. So the boys end up leaving and all their phones start to ring, the girls. So the girls are left and Ellie is still somewhere throwing up. So her phone rings first and then the others ring directly after it. And when they all open their phones, it's a picture of the bloody tire iron that was used to kill Megan and a gloved hand holding it. So they all start to panic and they're like, who the fuck could this be? Like, it's got to be Garrett. He's the only other one that knows and he's not here. And Chugs is like kind of standing up for him and she's like, listen, like, I don't think he would do this. He has kind of lost his way, but he has developed a weird sense of humor. So like, maybe it is him. And they're all just like, okay, well, you need to go get him the fucking line because what the fuck kind of joke is this? And Jessica tells them all to delete the picture and to delete it off Ellie's phone so she never sees, because they know Ellie will fucking panic. Like, Ellie panics over fucking everything. And Cassidy goes to leave and she tries to tell Jessica that she's not coming to the party. And Jessica's like, how will that look? And Cassidy is like, I don't really care how it looks. And I don't even care if we get caught. I just don't want to be in a cell or anywhere fucking near you. And Jessica's like, you're coming to the fucking party, bitch. Like, you have to. So Cassidy ends up calling Andy and she has his like location on her phone. And it's not like a location today. Like, it's not a specific location, but it shows how many miles away he is. But the conversation that they're having, you can tell this is like a loving, like healthy relationship between Cassidy and Andy. So at this point, all the girls gather in like the main room and Mrs. Crenshaw is giving them like a goodbye speech. And she's saying how, you know, like, I know I was hard on you guys sometimes, but for everything I caught you for, there are many things that I knew about and didn't get you in trouble for. And she ends up giving them all these like little charm bracelets. And she says that they have 22 links representing each of the 22 girls in the sorority. So she gives them to them. All of them hug her and like say thank you. And she leaves. And Ellie and Cassidy put the bracelets on each other. But Jessica like looks at the bracelet and again, she's a total fucking bitch. So she looks at the bracelet and she's like, ugh, like, what is this, plated silver? And she just like throws it down and leaves it. And Claire and Chugs, being absolute followers, do the same exact thing. So the three of them leave their bracelets behind while Ellie and Cassidy put theirs on. And the reason I stress this is because this is going to be like a foreshadow here. So we then cut to the girls like setting up for the party that night. And we see Claire in the hot tub and her boyfriend comes to her and she's like trying to seduce him to get in the hot tub, which ultimately he does. And then we cut to Chugs and we see her go to her therapist's house and she walks in the house and she's like, hello, like, where are you? And she like grabs a bottle of wine out of the liquor cabinet and she ends up finding her therapist, Dr. Rosenberg, handcuffed to his bed. And he's like, hey, like, sorry that my last appointment ended and they left me like this, but there's no reason why you and I can't finish what me and my last patient started. And I have a lot of sample prescriptions, by the way. So like literally saying like, come fuck me in this bed as I'm handcuffed and I'll give you all the drugs that you want. So like, fuck this guy. Absolutely fuck this man. So Chugs like sighs. Obviously she doesn't want any part of this, but she will do it for drugs because she has no self-worth, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of sad. Like, now looking, like, when you watch it younger, it's kind of funny, but now watching it, you're like, oh, this is actually really fucking sad. God, if I developed a heart, I hate that about myself. But whatever. Chug sighs and she goes to the bathroom to like get ready. And as she leaves, the doctor hears something in the distance and he looks, but he can't see because again, he's handcuffed. So he can't like fully look into the hallway. And he ends up reaching for the key to uncuff himself, which is on the dresser next to him. And it's this like tense moment where like he can't reach it. But eventually he finally reaches it and he quickly uncuffs himself and he stands up. And the moment he stands up, we see somebody down the hallway in a black cloak with a hood, and they just throw this fucking tire iron at him and it spins and it impales him and he dies. So we cut to Chugs in the bathroom, who's completely unaware that this just happened, and she's leaving a voicemail for, I think, Jessica, saying, like, I won't make it till the party till later because Dr. Rosenberg is really making me earn these pills today. And she hangs up and she looks in the mirror and she's just like, cheers, slut. Like, she's obviously like disappointed in herself, but she's going to go do this anyway. So she goes back out and she sees that he's gone from the bed. Like, he's obviously not on the bed anymore. We know that he's dead, but she doesn't know this yet because his body is no longer just like right there. And she walks around the house for a minute and she looks for him. And then she ends up laying down on this couch and she goes to drink the bottle of wine. And as she goes to put it back, as she's laying down, the killer shows up behind her and fucking slams on the bottle, which causes it to go down her throat. And she's like choking, she's gagging, and he slams on it again, which causes it to go further. And then finally he slams on it a third time, which causes it to break. And we just see her blood like all bubble up in the bottle. So like Chugs is fucking dead. And we're going to see a theme of this here of how like the girls are all killed kind of via like mouths like this. And I think like the significance of this is that they all blabbed, like all the girls blabbed, and we're going to find that out. So we cut back to the house and we see all the girls like drinking and partying. They're obviously completely unaware of what just happened to Chugs. And then we cut to a restaurant and we see Jessica there, and she's at lunch with her boyfriend Kyle's father, who we learn at this point that her boyfriend Kyle's father is a senator and he is hoping to get a vice presidential nod. So this is why earlier Cassidy was like, oh, his dad would never let you date his son if he knew that you were a fucking murderer, and it's because he's a politician. So he can't have any of this like bad shit on his record. And he basically gives Jessica this whole speech like, I don't like surprises, so don't give me any. Otherwise, like, this will all be fine. Like, this will all go away if there's any surprises. Like, you will not be allowed to date my son. And Jessica looks kind of uncomfortable, but she just like assures him like, I won't disappoint you. And then Kyle shows up. So that conversation stops. But you can tell Jessica is kind of like uncomfortable with this whole thing, obviously, because she knows that she's fucking killed somebody. So back at the sorority house, we see Claire and her boyfriend Mickey come in, and she like yells at him for looking at other girls because he's like very obviously staring at like their asses and shit because he's a fucking scumbag. And we see Ellie and Cassidy, and Ellie just seems off because, again, Ellie is just like a nervous bitch all the time. And Cassidy ends up telling Jessica, like, I'm worried about Ellie. She seems off. And Jessica's like, I don't care. After graduation, I don't need her to write my papers anymore. So what do I need her for? And Cassidy is like, so much for sisterhood, you raging bitch. So we then cut to the bathroom and we see a bunch of girls in the shower, including Claire, and we get a POV of somebody approaching the shower that Claire is in, and the shower curtain opens and it turns out it's just another sorority sister. And she just looks at Claire and is like, just so you know, waxing isn't just for the floors anymore. Like, just such a fucking 2000s insult, which is absolutely hilarious. And she like laughs at Claire, but then Jessica approaches from behind her and she's like, hey, Riley, are you a senior? Because this is a senior bathroom. Do I need to start checking stalls again? And you can tell that everybody's like obviously intimidated by Jessica, because we cut to another girl that's in one of the stalls and she kind of like shrinks away and hides in the shower. And then Jessica looks at this girl Riley and is like, get out of the bathroom, but drop your towel first, you fucking bitch. So she has to drop her towel and walk across the house naked, but she does it and she leaves. And then Claire comes out and she's like, I keep thinking about that text. So Claire is obviously stressing this whole thing, and Jessica just like openly talks about killing Megan in this public space. And we see this girl in the shower that they don't know is there, obviously, but she hears the whole thing and she looks like she's in shock. She's like, what the fuck? And Jessica basically like insults Claire and is like, you don't have a backbone, like, fuck you. And she just like walks out and leaves. And then Claire follows after her. So it's now just the girl in the shower, and we cut to her, and as she's in the shower, just like shocked and appalled by what she just heard, she hears another shower start, and then another shower, and then another shower. So all the showers are turning on, and somebody's obviously turning them on. So she reaches for a towel, she steps out of the stall, and there's this slow moment where like, you know, somebody's in the bathroom with her, but you don't know when they're going to pop out. But she's like walking through the bathroom slowly, and she shouts out hello as if this person's just going to answer her. And she ends up walking through the bathroom and eventually comes face to face with that same person who killed the doctor in this like black hooded cloak. And they take that same tire iron and impale her through the bottom of her jaw, like up through her head. And she dies, this random girl that we don't even know her name. Now, I should tell you, this tire iron is not a regular tire iron. It is like completely, they describe it later as like it's pimped out. And it is, because like on each of the four sides of it is like a different weapon. Specifically, like on one, there is like a ghost face style knife. And it's pretty legit. So that's how he's doing all this damage with it. It's not just like a regular tire iron. Like there are like sharp weapons on the end of each of the four parts. So we cut back to Ellie, and she's now in the basement. She goes to bring something down there and like get more alcohol for the girls upstairs. And as she's down there, she hears a noise, and like we see a shadow walk by her, but she doesn't see this. But the flashlight that she has dies, of course. So she pulls out her cell phone for light, which is just like the dim light of the screen of the cell phone. So it's not a whole lot, but eventually she gets to the light bulb. She turns it on, and the first thing she sees is Cassidy's bloody jacket that they wrapped Megan's body in when they threw her down the mine shaft. And she sees this, and she turns, and right in her face is Kyle, Jessica's boyfriend. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing down here? And he says, I was looking for you. Like, Cassidy said you might need help. So Ellie panics and runs upstairs, and we cut to her like crying to the other girls. And she's crying like, we killed her. We dumped her body. Like, she's freaking the fuck out. And like, if I was Cassidy, I would be like, bitch, I fucking told you this was going to happen. Like, you don't know what it's like to carry a secret like this, and you agreed with these other dumb bitches instead of me. Like, fuck you. So that's why I hate Ellie, because like she was warned from the start and she still went against Cassidy, and then like you're going to cry about it. Like, fuck you, you dumb bitch. So Jessica, of course, like chimes in, and she's like, everybody fucking relax, which like, how are you going to relax in this situation? But Jessica tells him to relax, and Cassidy is like, how are we going to relax? Like, the last time we saw that jacket, it was wrapped around a dead body. So at this point, they decide to tell Ellie about the text of the tire iron that they got, and say that they think it's Garrett. And the thought of Garrett brings up like, where the fuck is Chugs? And they try to call her, they get no answer, they leave a voicemail, and they're like, we need to know where your brother is, because like something else just happened. Like, get back here and we need to find him. Obviously, they don't know that Chugs is dead, so Chugs is never going to hear this. So Jessica is like, well, clearly Garrett has gone nuts, and like, if he blabs, we are fucked. And Cassidy is like, I want to call the police now. Like, we should have before. Like, let's fucking call them. And Jessica is like, no, we stick together for now. We get ready and we go to the party and we act like nothing happened, or else we're going to look fucking guilty. And Ellie is like, well, what about the jacket? And Jessica's like, hide it, Ellie, you fucking idiot. She didn't say the fucking idiot, but I'm adding the fucking idiot part. But anyway, we cut to that night, and we see that the party is starting, and like there's a bunch of frat guys, and they all show up in these black hooded cloaks. And apparently this is supposed to be like a graduation cape, but like graduation capes don't have fucking hoods on them, but whatever. They're all fucking wearing them. And this party is just absolutely wild. There's like foam everywhere outside, which like, oh my God, I remember being 18 and going to this local sketchy ass, sleazy ass club, and they would have like foam parties, and it was absolutely disgusting. And I don't know what happened in that foam, and I don't want to know, but like, that's why I have a good immune system. I'm absolutely convinced is because of that foam, because who knew what the fuck was going on in there? So if I didn't catch a disease from that, I can't catch a disease from anything. I am invincible because of the foam. But we see somebody walking in, slow walking into the party in the cloak that we've seen the killer wearing, like the black hooded cloak. And we're like focusing on them, and there's this ominous music playing, and all of a sudden she turns around and whips off the cloak, and it's just a naked girl. Like, she's just like fucking naked, and everybody's cheering because her tits are out, and everybody loves tits. So we see that Andy is also at this party, and Cassidy has decided to go as well. And they're kind of like off doing their own thing. And Claire's boyfriend, Mickey, is just the epitome of like a 2000s fucking douchebag, because he is wearing 2 collared shirts with both of the collars popped. And that was such like a quintessential 2000s staple. And like every guy who did this was like the worst guy I've ever met in my entire life. So like, you already know Mickey fucking just is such a douchebag, like such a tool. But I mean, this was the look. I can't say I didn't do it. I truly cannot say that I didn't wear the double popped collar shirts. So, But doesn't matter. Mickey's still a douchebag. And he and Claire kind of like get into an argument and she walks away pissed off. So he takes this as his opportunity to go find who else he can get at this party. And he's like looking for girls like a fucking creep. And he approaches Ellie, who's sitting by herself, just like looking distraught as always, and he tells her like, oh, me and Claire just broke up, but you look really pretty tonight, and like touches her leg. And Ellie finally grows a backbone for a second and is like, Mickey, if you touch me again, I will fucking kill you. And she walks away. So Mickey then sees these other two girls standing in the distance and they're trying to get into the party, because to get into the party, you need like this little bracelet. And he pulls out two bracelets and he's like, I have what you want, but you need to give me something in return. Like he wants them to flash him their tits because, again, everybody loves tits in the 2000s. So they like go into this weird little makeshift tent thing, and the girls obviously look really uncomfortable, but they're willing to do it. And they hear a noise come from outside. So Mickey's like, stay right here. And he goes to investigate. And when he does, he sees somebody in a black hooded cloak standing there in the distance staring at him. And then the girls come out of the tent behind him. So he turns around and the girls are like, we're going to pass because you're a little too creepy and you're also not that hot. And they just walk away. So Mickey's like, okay, that's fucking great. And he turns back and the cloaked figure is gone. So whoever it was is no longer there. But we do see Ellie watching from above from one of the bedrooms, and Mickey sees her watching and is like, hey, like, don't tell Claire about this, hee, and like, don't tell her that I like fucking tried to hit on you too. Like, obviously she's gonna go tell Claire. So we then cut to Claire and Cassidy, and Claire is like distraught about what they did that night with Megan, and Cassidy is like, yeah, like we obviously all made a bad decision that night. Like Claire's regretting following Jessica and doing what Jessica said. But we cut back to Mickey and he's looking for Ellie specifically so we can like try to get her to not tell Claire about what happened. And he's in the area of the house that's being renovated because there's like all tarp up and like wood and shit, and it's not actually done. So he's walking through that area. It seems like an attic or something. And suddenly this cloaked figure comes out again, and it looks at him and it straight up just goes up to him and breaks his fucking leg. Like just one felt swoop breaks his fucking leg. So he's on the ground. He's backing up trying to get away. He pulls out the tire iron with like the knives on it and he approaches Mickey. And Mickey gets to the window and he's trying to yell out the window for help. He breaks the window and these two drunk guys below him like look up and they can't hear what Mickey's saying because the music is too loud, and they just like laugh. They think it's a joke. So Mickey continues to crawl and he gets to this like laundry chute and he starts to go down it head first, but the killer throws the tire iron through the wall underneath him. And we see from Mickey's point of view, like his face is here and like the tire iron lands like right here. And like another part of it is like right at his throat. So it just misses him, but now it's kind of like pinning him up so he can't get past it. So the killer approaches and takes the tire iron and literally just like, so he starts to like turn it so it starts to go through the wall, and he impales the knife part into the wall, which proceeds to impale Mickey through the throat, and he dies. So he dies like inverted, like his feet are up in the air and he's just like stuck there, but he's dead. He's fucking dead. So we cut back to Claire and Cassidy, and downstairs they hear Ellie scream, and she runs out of the party and she runs right by Jessica, who sees, and she follows her. And Ellie literally could not be more fucking conspicuous. Like again, like she is the last person you want to commit a fucking crime with. Like she's awful. She can't do anything. So as Jessica's walking away, Kyle is there and he like grabs her and he like basically threatens her like, you better have this under control, because Kyle thinks he's like a big bad boy because his daddy's like rich and a fucking politician. He's one of those and I hate him for it. But they end up all following to where Ellie is and they find her completely panicking, and Jessica is like yelling at her to speak because Ellie is just like like crying, hyperventilating, like can't speak because she's a fucking annoying stupid bitch. I just hate Ellie. I'm sorry, I really do. Every time I watch this movie I just like hate her more and more. I can't stand her. I think she's so annoying. So she's like yelling at Ellie to speak and she just fucking can't. And Jessica like starts to put together what she thinks happened. She's like, somebody in a hooded graduation gown, and Jessica berates her. She's like, everybody's wearing graduation gowns today, Ellie. Like it's fucking graduation. Like, do you have eyes? Do you have ears? Like she's like yelling at her. She's doing what all of us want to do to Ellie, to be honest. And Ellie just keeps crying, but she just can't say anything. And Jessica is like, okay, if you can't tell us, then you're going to show us. And she physically like grabs Ellie and drags her. And Ellie's like, no. So like you can say no, but you can't fucking tell her what you saw and what you're crying about, you dumb bitch. So they end up dragging her upstairs, and Claire stays with Ellie, and Jessica and Cassidy follow to where Ellie said she saw something. And it turns out she saw Mickey's dead body. That's why she's fucking freaking out. So they go upstairs and they find Mickey's body, and Jessica is like, they can only see his feet because, again, he's like halfway down the laundry chute. And Jessica's like, that's Mickey. I would know those ugly ass shoes anywhere. Like, again, Jessica is a total bitch, but like her comedic relief when she does stupid shit like this, I think is fucking hilarious. So we see that the tire iron is still through the wall, and Jessica is like, I think that was the same one that was used to kill Megan, but it looks like somebody's pimped it out because, again, like it has knives on all ends of it. And at this moment, their phone rings and they look and they see that they've been texted something else. And this time it's the video of Garrett killing Megan that was taken on her phone that night that they threw down into the mine shaft. And then they get a text saying, you know where you killed me, meet now, or this goes to the police in 20 minutes. So Jessica sees this and she's like, we can't let Ellie see this. And the moment she says that, we hear Ellie scream again, like she keeps fucking just screaming from downstairs. And they're like, oh, shit, too late. So they run downstairs. The four of them meet up again. Jessica goes to get her car. Cassidy tells Claire that Mickey's dead because she had no idea what was happening. They didn't know it was him up in the fucking laundry chute until Jessica saw his shoes. And Cassidy then goes to Andy and she's like, listen, go to your parents' house, because that's what they had planned on doing. She's like, go to your parents' house. I'm going to meet you there tomorrow. I promise. Like, I'll tell you everything tomorrow, but like, I need to take care of something right now. And he's kind of reluctant, but he agrees. And Jessica pulls up the car and beeps for her, and she kisses Andy goodbye, and she gets in the car and they speed away. And at the point where they're in the car, Cassidy is like, did anybody bring a weapon? And they're all like, oh, fuck, no, like, we didn't think of that. Which, like, you were just up where this fucking pimped out tire iron is and you didn't take that. But also, why didn't the killer take that? Like, why did he just leave it there? And we're going to see that he gets it back somehow. So maybe he has multiple of these things, or maybe he went back for it. I don't fucking know, my guy. But they're speeding down the road, Jessica's driving, when suddenly the car stops abruptly because Maggie, Megan's sister, basically jumps out in front of the fucking car. And she's like, oh, why are you guys leaving? Like, is the party over? And Jessica gets out to confront her, and she just like gives Jessica an attitude out of nowhere. Like, she seemed so sweet and innocent earlier, and now she's just a total bitch. And she's like, why would I listen to a lying bitch like you? By the way, my sister hated you, and also your hair looks like shit, and walks away. You should have hit that bitch, Jessica. Like, if I was her, I would have hit her with my vehicle. For legal purposes, that is a joke. So Jessica's pissed. She's like freaking the fuck out, but she's got shit to do. So she gets in the car and she speeds away again. And eventually they get to the mine shaft. And Ellie is once again just crying hysterically this whole time. And she's saying that Megan's alive. She's like, Megan's alive. Like, she's the one doing this. And Jessica is like, that's not possible. Like, this obviously is Garrett. He's the one doing this. And they end up having a flare gun in the trunk. So they get a flare gun, which, like, I guess is better than nothing. But as they do that, Jessica goes to turn on the headlights of the car once they get to the mine shaft because it's super fucking dark. And in the headlights is Garrett. He's fucking there. And Claire aims the flare gun at him, and we see that Garrett's wrists are all bloodied, and he has Cassidy's jacket in his hand, part of the jacket, because only half of the jacket was in the sorority house, so whoever's doing this like ripped it in half. And he just like is fucking hysterical, and he pulls out a knife and he starts approaching Claire, like Cassidy, with it, and Jessica just rams him down with the fucking car. She gets in the car and she just runs him the fuck over. And she runs him over as he's screaming, like, you made me do it, because like they made him kill Megan thinking that she was fucking dead. And Jessica runs him over, so he's now like laying limp on the ground, and they look at the body, and Jessica kind of laughs and is like, looks like he won't be sending us any more videos. And Cassidy is like, why would you do that? Which, like, Cassidy, fuck off. Like, he was literally coming at you with a knife, which Jessica says. She's like, he was coming at you with a knife. Like, you should be fucking thanking me. I just stopped him. So they go to like investigate him, and they touch his hand, and we get a jump scare because he's still alive, and he like comes to life for a second, but then lets out a final breath, seemingly. And they like look at him, and Cassidy is like, he cut his own wrists. Like, those are like self-inflicted injuries. And they look at Garrett's phone that he had in his hand, and they look through it, and it turns out he was getting the same texts that they were. So whoever is texting them was also texting Garrett all this shit, the same text from Megan's phone. And Ellie is like, do you believe me now? Like, it has to be Megan. There's nobody else that it could be. And Cassidy is like, well, there's only one way to find out. So we cut to them lowering Cassidy down this mine shaft, like on this chain. And they're using like a mirror at the top because it's nighttime to like give her light using like a reflection and a flashlight. Like they like MacGyvered this shit. And it's like a broken shard of a mirror, which actually is what Garrett had in his hand. It wasn't a knife, but it was like a mirror shard, which is like the same shit. But as they're lowering her down, the chain breaks and Cassidy falls to the bottom of this mine shaft. And you can see like the breath is knocked out of her for a second, but she comes to, and there's like rats down there, which causes her to scream. And the girls upstairs like get startled, and Jessica drops the mirror shard, which almost impales Cassidy, but it misses her. But Cassidy, now not having light, pulls out her cell phone for light, and she starts to look around the mine shaft. And she's like, okay, well, I see the blanket. They see the blanket that Megan was wrapped up in. She's like, I see the blanket, but I don't see Megan. There's no body. And she turns around, and on the wall of the mine shaft is written, Theta Pi must die, in blood. And Theta Pi, again, is their sorority. So now they're like, they know they're fucked, and there's no body down there. So now they're like, Ellie's right. Like, this is Megan. And she's now out to get revenge. So they go back to the house. I don't know how Cassidy got out of the mine shaft, but obviously she did. And they go back to the house, and the party's now over. Like, the house is empty with the exception of a couple people. And Claire makes it her main priority to go turn the jacuzzi off because it's like over bubbled and there's like bubble bath everywhere because it was in the jacuzzi. So now there's like more foam in the backyard, and like you have a murderer after you who's like murdered some of your friends already and like your boyfriend, and your first priority is to go turn off the jacuzzi. Like, fuck the jacuzzi, bitch. Like, stay with your friends. So she makes it a point to go to the jacuzzi, and they're like, you shouldn't go off alone. And she's like, I'm fine. And she holds up the flare gun. Like, bitch, it's a fucking flare gun. Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, who cares about the fucking jacuzzi? Go inside. But she does anyway, and Ellie, Cassidy, and Jessica go inside. And Jessica like sees this couple making out on the couch, and she like pours beer on them for them to leave. And meanwhile, outside, we see Claire get to the jacuzzi, and she grabs like the wire of it, and she starts following it to where it would need to be unplugged so she can unplug the thing. And she's in like waist high foam. Like it's a lot of fucking foam. So she can't necessarily see like what's under her. And meanwhile, inside, Cassidy looks at her phone to that app she has where she can see how far away Andy is. And it shows that he's 83 miles away. So he's gone to his parents. He listened to her. And meanwhile, Ellie is still just like crying hysterically, being fucking useless. Jessica turns the music off, and they all suddenly get a phone chime, and it's a text again, and it's a group chat with the three of them in it from Chugs, and it says, I'm gonna miss the party because I'm dead, with a smiley face. And Jessica looks at this and she's like, wait, how come this text doesn't include Claire? And as she says that, Claire starts banging on the glass door, and she's screaming for help, and they're like from the inside struggling to unlock it, and there's like a beer keg blocking it so they can't get it open. And Cassidy looks down at Claire and realizes that she has a wire wrapped around her ankle. This is the jacuzzi wire. It's wrapped around her ankle, and as she realizes this, Claire gets pulled back by her ankle and dragged away into the foam. So Cassidy is the first one to like jump to the rescue. So she goes out there, she opens the door, she runs into the foam with like this cane that was by the door. So she grabs this weapon, she runs into the foam, and she sees the flare gun go off, but she can't see it because like, again, it's all covered by foam. And she ends up approaching where this light is, and sure enough, she finds Claire very much dead with the flare inside of her mouth. So the flare gun was fucking used against her. So Cassidy runs back inside, and she grabs the others. They lock the door. Ellie again is just crying like a useless bitch, not doing anything. And she's just screaming like, Megan's here. She's going to kill all of us, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, fucking do something about it, bitch. Like, you're going to stand here and cry the whole time? Like, you deserve to be killed. So Jessica calls for Kyle because she knows that he's still there and was waiting for her. And she goes into her room, and she sees somebody like under the sheets, like under the covers of her bed. And she goes to flip the blanket back, and it's fucking Maggie. It's this little bitch, and she's fucking half naked, and she's like, oh, sorry, I met a boy. And she like points to the picture of Kyle that Jessica has on her nightstand, and she's like, this boy, like obviously knowing it's Jessica's boyfriend and like rubbing it in her face. And she looks at Jessica and is like, by the way, I know you fucked Megan's boyfriend, so payback's a bitch. Like, thinking she's all like high and fucking mighty. Mind you, this is like a high school girl because she said she's going to college like next year. So Jessica just looks at her and goes, you're a bitch, and grabs her by the hair and like throws her out of the fucking room. And again, this is why I love Jessica, because like, yeah, fucking get her. Like, yeah, you fucked Megan's boyfriend first, which is totally not cool. You're absolutely a bitch, but do not let this little like 17-year-old girl get you down. Hell fucking no. So she pulls her out of bed. She throws her into the hallway. This fight ensues between the two of them. And then all of a sudden, Cassidy is like, shut the fuck up. She's in the house, talking about Megan at this point, because they all now think that it's Megan. And Maggie is like, who? But they all go silent. And now Jessica is like, screw this. And there is a glass case with an axe in the hallway. So she breaks the case and she grabs the axe and she goes to turn the corner. And when she does, Miss Crenshaw startles her and she swings the axe at Mrs. Crenshaw. And Mrs. Crenshaw proceeds to hit her in the face with the butt of her rifle or her shotgun that she's carrying. And Jessica's like, Mrs. Crenshaw, it's me, Jessica. And Mrs. Crenshaw is like, I know, you've had that coming for years. Like, Mrs. Crenshaw is that bitch. Like, I love her. So she says, you've had that coming for years. Plus, I saw what you did. And Jessica immediately just like outs herself. She's like, we didn't mean to kill Megan. And Mrs. Crenshaw is like, what do you mean? I was talking about, I saw that you trashed the house. And Maggie obviously heard this, so she starts screaming. She's like, you killed my sister? Like, what the fuck? So they start arguing, but Mrs. Crenshaw fires her gun into the ceiling and is like, talk. Like, tell me what the fuck happened. And Cassidy jumps in and she's like, we'll explain later, but she tells her who is dead, like Claire, Mickey, like these Chugs, these people are dead, and Megan might be alive. And Jessica tells Mrs. Crenshaw that Kyle is here too, but he's not in on it. And they're like, how do you really know that? Like, Crenshaw says, lie to me again. And Jessica admits, okay, like I told Kyle about Megan. And Cassidy is like, was I the only one who didn't tell anybody? Like, you fucking bitches were supposed to keep this a secret and you told your boyfriends. So Maggie chimes in and she's like, he left the second he heard you coming. And Mrs. Crenshaw is like, okay, well, whoever this person is that's in the house, he, she, or it is about to get 2 rounds to the face. I need you all to go hide in Jessica's room and call the police. I'm going to take care of this. So they all go to Jessica's room and they're like, damn, I didn't know Mrs. Crenshaw was such a fucking badass. Like, goddamn. So she goes off with her shotgun to look for whoever's in the house. So they all get to Jessica's room and they realize that none of them have their cell phones. They try to ask Ellie if she has her cell phone and she simply just fucking cries like the little bitch she is. I swear to God, she's been crying this whole fucking movie. And they hear a gunshot come from outside. And obviously they know that this is Mrs. Crenshaw. So they don't know what she's shot at, but we cut to Mrs. Crenshaw. Maggie runs out of the room screaming, oh my God, Megan, like she thinks it's Megan. So she runs out and Jessica just like in the most monotone voice, obviously not caring at all, just goes, oh no, don't go out there. Like she could not give a fuck less if this little bitch runs out there and gets herself killed. So we cut to Mrs. Crenshaw and she's in the kitchen and we see this hooded figure and she sees the hooded figure and she just starts blasting. She shoots at this thing like 3 times and just completely misses. She's like wasting all of her fucking ammo and she's screaming to this person. She's like, don't think I'm scared of you. I run a house with 50 crazy bitches, which is an absolute fucking fact. And now back in Jessica's room, it's Jessica, Cassidy, and Ellie. And Jessica's like, I think we should make a run for it. And Ellie, and through her tears, is like, I'm staying here. Like, I'm fucking, like, because she's so fucking scared she can't move. And Cassidy is like, okay, well, I think we should go upstairs to Mickey's body and get his cell phone because I know he has a cell phone on him and I need you to cover me with the axe, talking to Jessica. So they agree to do that. And then Cassidy tells Ellie, like, if you get a chance to run, take it. And Ellie like is through her tears. Like, I don't even know if she's fucking hearing anybody at this point or she's even like competent enough to do anything. But Cassidy and Jessica end up leaving the room and go to Mickey's body. And meanwhile, we see Maggie walking around the house calling out for Megan, like just out in the fucking open. So back in the kitchen, we see the cloaked figure run by again, and Mrs. Crenshaw once again shoots, and this time she misses again, and the figure throws the fucking tire iron at her. And it misses, but it lands in the wall behind her. And she goes to shoot at the fucking person again, but this time she's out of bullets because she was just blasting all willy-nilly like she was. So she's out of bullets. She rushes to reload, and she finally reloads, and she aims, but she doesn't shoot in time. And the figure approaches and pushes the kitchen table into her, which causes her to be thrown against the wall where the tire iron is sticking out of, and she gets impaled with the fucking tire iron. And she screams out to this person, stay the fuck away from my girls, and shoots once more in their direction, misses again, and dies. God, shout out to Mrs. Crenshaw. Like, you might have just been like blasting willy-nilly, which you shouldn't have done, but like at least you put up a good ass fucking fight. So we cut back to Maggie and she's looking around this house still and she sees this cloaked figure and she's like, Megan, is that you? Like, she would have told you if she was fucking Megan by now, don't you think? But She starts to approach this hooded figure anyway, who proceeds to light a Molotov cocktail and throw it at Maggie. And it misses Maggie, but it does indeed set the fucking house on fire. So now there's a killer with a rigged out tire iron, a bunch of dead bodies, and the place is on fucking fire. Wonderful. What else could possibly go wrong? So we cut back to Ellie just being absolutely useless, and she's hiding in the room, and she turns the lights off and she goes to hide in the closet. And it's completely obvious that she's hiding in the closet because like the closet all has clothes hanging up that's like waist high, and Ellie just goes behind it. We can totally see her legs in it. It's like such a fucking joke. Like she can't even hide. She can't do anything. She can't even hide well. So we cut to Cassidy and Jessica, who are going upstairs, going to Mickey's body, and suddenly we see Kyle burst out behind them, and he's wearing a fucking black robe. And Jessica is like, what are you doing here, and why the fuck are you wearing that? But then Jessica starts like yelling at him, and she's like, you fucked her, didn't you? Like, I know you did, talking about Maggie. And he starts to like she starts to like hit him, and he grabs her and tells her to calm down. And he's like, Jessica, like, I warned you if you couldn't hold it together. And he's like yelling at her to put the axe down. And then he sees Cassidy with the phone because she ends up getting the phone from Mickey during this. And he turns his sights on her, and Kyle attacks Cassidy. And he like gets on top of her and he wrestles the phone away. And Kyle is like, I told you, you can't get out of this, Jessica. Like, and he says to Cassidy, Jessica will do anything for me as long as, and suddenly before he can finish his sentence, he gets fucking knocked out by Jessica. And Jessica's like, as long as you can keep your dick in your pants, you fucking scumbag. Like, so she knocks him out because she's like, yeah, I would do anything for you, but now you just fuck some other bitch, so like go to hell. And again, this is why I love Jessica for moments like this, because like, good for you, sis. Get him. Get his ass. So she gets Cassidy up, and Kyle is like, do you have any idea what my father is capable of? Like, he's giving fucking Draco Malfoy vibes. Like, my father will hear about this. Like, fuck you and fuck your daddy, you little bitch. And this is another reason why I love Jessica, because he's like, do you know what my father is capable of? And Jessica just goes, well, maybe I'm fucking the wrong guy. Like, I love that. I'm like, yes, get him, kill him. Metaphorically, of course, for legal purposes. And Kyle ends up taking the axe away from her, which like he does very simply because she's not holding on to it very tightly. And she and Cassidy run because now Kyle is armed with an axe, and Kyle is very much seeming like the killer at this point. So he like corners Jessica, and Cassidy runs away, and Kyle like laughs at it and is like, some sister she turned out to be, huh? Like saying that to Jessica. But behind him, Cassidy pops up and says, hey, asshole. And he turns and she sprays him with a fucking fire extinguisher and grabs Jessica, and the two of them run away. So they end up getting to a window. They can't open it. They hear Kyle coming, and they notice that the house is on fire at this point. So they're like, fuck, the house is on fire. So we see Kyle with the axe like coming towards them, and Jessica's phone rings and like gives away their location. So they go into another room and they close the door, and it must be like an old bathroom or something, because they pull back like what looks like a shower curtain, and behind it they find Megan's old decomposing body, and they like get startled, and Jessica just goes, oh, she looks terrible. Again, the comedic relief from her I think is hilarious. Like, oh, she looks terrible. Like, she says it so calmly as if there's not like a completely decomposed skeleton in front of them. So they go silent and they start to listen for Kyle. So Jessica like has her ear to the door, and she looks at Cassidy and she's like, oh, I'm really starting to think he's not marriage material. And as she says that, he like bursts through the door with the axe and knocks her out. So Jessica's now on the floor, completely knocked out. And Kyle starts breaking down the door with the axe. And as he does that, he's literally saying, my dad is going to be very angry. Like, you little bitch boy bitch. I hate you. My dad's going to be very angry. Like, go like cuddle your dad and like suck on his fucking tit then, man. I don't know what to tell you. You shouldn't be here. So he axes down the door. Cassidy manages to run by him, but he grabs her by the throat and pins her up against the wall and is like, we aren't leaving here till we come up with a story. And also, too bad your boyfriend's not here to protect you. But suddenly, as he says that, he gets impaled through the head, and Andy shows up behind him and is like, guess again. Like, I am here to protect her, bitch. So Kyle dies, rightfully so. Kyle dies, and Cassidy hugs Andy and is like, oh my God. And he tells her, like, I couldn't leave. I knew you were in trouble. Like, I came back. And she's like, oh my God, you saved me. And Andy is like, yeah, I always will. Like, you don't need this place. You don't need these people. I won't let anything happen to you. And at this point, Jessica comes out, and her and Cassidy at the same time look down and see that Andy has a tire iron. And it is at this moment they have the moment of realization that Andy is the fucking killer. And Cassidy is horrified. She starts backing away, and Jessica, like being Jessica, is like, it's okay, like we can fix this. And she starts to ramble on, like saying how we can fix this, and he just grabs his fucking tire iron and impales her with it through the fucking mouth, and she dies. Like literally just shoves it right into her fucking jaw as she's mid sentence. So again, all of the girls, like the main girls in the sorority that are killed at this point, are killed through their mouths in some way. So Chugs with the alcohol bottle, Claire with the flare gun in the mouth, and now Jessica with the tire iron in her mouth. So it's symbolic of the fact that like they swore to secrecy. Like they swore they were going to be quiet and not tell anybody, and they all told somebody. So then Andy looks at Cassidy and he's like, I know everything because Ellie told me. Bitch. This is the real reason why I hate Ellie, because not only did you not listen to Cassidy and you turned against her, and then not only have you been a crying little fucking baby back bitch this whole entire time, but you also told somebody that you really don't even know entirely. Like, I don't know that she doesn't entirely know him, but like you told your friend's boyfriend, by the way, the friend that you fucking turned on and were going to agree with everybody that she's the one that killed Megan. Like, you told her fucking boyfriend for why? Why would you fucking do that? So Ellie told him the whole fucking thing because she couldn't keep her stupid little fucking mouth shut. And Cassidy is absolutely horrified. And Andy goes on and he's like, these are horrible people. You've been trying to get away from them, and I'm just helping you cut the cord. Like, everybody who knew had to die. So now it makes sense as to why the people who were targeted. So Claire was targeted because obviously she knew, and she told Mickey, which is why Mickey was killed. Chugs then told her therapist, so that's why her and her therapist were killed. You told Crenshaw, so I had to go kill her. That girl in the shower overheard, so I had to kill her. Jessica told Kyle, so I had to kill them both too. And I didn't kill Garrett, but he was about to snap anyway, and he took care of that himself, and then you guys helped take care of that. So thanks. Like, he's good too. And Cassidy, again, is just listening to this completely horrified, and he's like, I'm feeling a little underappreciated. Like, I did all this for you. Like, it was only a matter of time before the girls talk about this shit in the bathroom, or like one blabs about it to her therapist. Like, you don't want this following you for our whole lives. And as long as people knew, you were in danger of going away for it. So he goes on to talk about his valedictorian speech that he gave, and he's like making a metaphor out of it, trying to be all smart and shit. And he's like, valedictorian means say farewell. So say farewell to the bitches of Theta Pi. Are you with me, Cassidy? And like at this point, out of pure fear, she's just like, like she nods, she says yes. And he's like, good, it's for the best. And he goes to the tire iron and pulls it out of Jessica's mouth, and like her blood spurts everywhere, and he just does it like it's fucking nothing. And he's like, great, now let's go kill Ellie and let's go to my parents' house for the summer so we can like vacation at their summer house, because he's a rich, spoiled little bitch brat too. So Cassidy at this point is like, no, like Ellie's okay. Like, we don't have to kill her. And Andy is like, she's the weakest of them all, which is absolutely true. And he's like, she told me, like, she doesn't even know me that well. And Cassidy is like, well, the house is on fire. Like, we got to go. And he's like, well, then we better move fast. So they're walking through the halls, and Andy tells Cassidy like to call out for Ellie. So she starts calling out kind of like half-assed, and eventually Cassidy is like, the house is on fire. Like, we really need to leave. And Andy is just like, okay, like you go wait outside. I'll take care of Ellie. He kisses her, and Cassidy is like, you know what? Tell Ellie to meet me in the basement. And they go and they separate. So they make this plan. He goes to look for her, and Cassidy ends up going into Jessica's room, where Ellie is still hiding like a stupid bitch that she is in the closet. Like, she's made no effort to even get herself out of the situation. And that's also why I hate her. Like, again, I understand in situations like this, like people freeze or shit happens, but you have had so much time to get yourself out of this house while things were happening elsewhere, and you have made absolutely zero effort. You've been hiding in the closet. Not only is there a killer in the house, you obviously know at this point that the house is fucking burning down. Like, there's no way you don't smell the fire at this point. Like, and you've made zero effort to escape. I hate you. I hate her. I hate her. So she goes to get Ellie from the closet, and Ellie's like, is it safe? Like, bitch, do you think it's fucking safe? And Cassidy's like, no, and it's not getting any safer. Like, we need to leave right now. So they go into the hallway where Andy cuts them off. So he like knew Cassidy was going to betray him. And he's like, why would you lie to me? Do you have any idea what I've done to give you your life back? Like, bitch, I never asked you to do any of this. First of all, you psycho fuck. And at this point, Cassidy yells for Ellie to run, which she finally does. Apparently she finally has fucking legs and can get herself out, so she runs, and Andy proceeds to attack Cassidy, but during a struggle, she knocks him out with a lamp before he's able to stab her. And he's on the ground, he's not fully knocked out yet, and she's like, why does it say that you're 83 miles away? And he's like, well, I put my cell phone on a Greyhound out of town so that you wouldn't think I was anywhere near, which, like, smart. Psycho, but smart. And Cassidy just looks at him and agrees, and she's like, good one. And she fucking smashes him with the lamp again and knocks him out, and she goes to leave. But before she gets out of the house, she hears this stupid bitch Maggie fucking screaming for help. And she goes back into the living room to find her in the corner, completely surrounded by fire. So she's cornered, there's like no windows, and Cassidy decides she's going to help her because she says, I left your sister, I'm not going to leave you too. Like, I need you to jump over the fire. And Maggie's like, are you fucking crazy? No, bitch. Do you want to be killed by the fire or by this man? Or do you want to get out? And sure enough, Andy shows up, and he's like, says exactly that. He's like, you might want to stay there, Maggie, because it's either the fire or the tire iron, but like either way, you're fucked. And Andy grabs this rope from this flagpole nearby, and he ties the tire iron to the rope, and he starts just throwing it at Maggie, and she dodges it twice. And then eventually Cassidy shows up and like throws a chair at him. Like, this bitch just like WWE's him, throws a chair at him. He ducks, but when he comes up from ducking, he doesn't see Cassidy in his line of sight. So he's like, what the fuck? And it turns out she ends up right next to him. She like teleported, and she knocks him out again. She once again calls for Maggie, like, jump over, and she just stands there fucking uselessly. Like, between her and Ellie, like, leave these bitches, just leave them. So Andy once again comes to, and he attacks Cassidy again from behind, and he swings like a lamp or something at her, but he misses and he hits the floor with it instead. But because the fire is happening, the floor is giving out anyway, so this causes the floor to break, and Cassidy starts to fall through. But she's able to hold herself up like on her elbows with her arms, and also that charm bracelet that Mrs. Crenshaw had given them is like stuck to something, so it's kind of helping her hold herself up as well. So she looks at Andy as she's struggling to stay up, and she's like, Andy, like, please help me. And he says, I tried to get you to tell me the truth, but you decided to protect your girlfriends instead, because Cassidy was actually the only one to not tell anybody about what fucking happened to Megan. And he's like, you just tried to protect your girlfriends. Like, I thought you were different, but you were all just the same, sisters till the end. As this year's valedictorian, I guess it's time to say, and he holds the knife like from the tire iron to Cassidy's fingers, like he's about to cut them off so she can't hold herself up. And as he says, I guess it's time to say, and from behind him, he hears Ellie say, farewell, asshole. And he turns around, and sure enough, she's gotten the shotgun from Mrs. Crenshaw, and he stands up, and she just straight up shoots this bitch. And he flies back, and he lands on the ground, which again is like breaking all around him. So him landing on the ground causes it to break, and he falls through the ground into the fire and just dies, perishes in the fiery depths of the basement. So Ellie tells Maggie, she yells at Maggie to wrap herself up with the curtain. So she rips the curtain down, wraps herself up, and she jumps through the fire, and they both grab Cassidy, pull her up from the ground. And Cassidy looks at Ellie and is like, I told you to get out of here. And Ellie is like, you did, but then I thought, what are sisters for? And now the three of them walk out of the house in the most like 2000s core fashion ever, because we have like a 2000s like pop song playing, and there's this like slow-mo shot of them walking away from the house as it just burns up and like goes up in flames in the background. And we finally hear sirens approaching and fire trucks and police showing up, because of course they always show up after everything's already done. Like, don't worry, I already did your job. I took care of everything, you fucking dumbasses. So I will say, at least Ellie redeemed herself a little bit here in the end, but I low-key like kind of hate the fact that she's the one to have done it, because she's been like, it just seems unrealistic to me that she's just been like so weak this whole time and literally has just been completely useless, but then suddenly like she's the one to defeat the killer. I don't know. It just doesn't add up for me, and I think I'm just like an Ellie hater, so maybe I just will never like her anyway. But regardless, the movie ends. We cut to 15 months later and we see that it is now like orientation or something. And we're at the house, the sorority house, the Theta Pi sorority house, and it's somehow like, I mean, I guess it's been 15 months, so it's somehow built back. I don't know if they put the fire out or whatever, but the house is still fucking standing. Fire didn't destroy it, or they managed to build it back within a year. I don't fucking know, but there's a bunch of sorority girls outside and they're like chanting something about Theta Pi. And in the middle of this crowd is Maggie. So she did come to college. She did rush Theta Pi. So she is now a Theta. And as they're chanting, we kind of pan out and we see somebody watching the girls from the distance. And we never see this person's face, but we pan to their wrist and we see scars on their wrist. So we know this is fucking Garrett. And he just watches them as he holds like a garden hoe in his hand. And we cut to black and the movie ends. Now, this is another movie that I think like getting a sequel would have been great because it ends on a cliffhanger like that. Because obviously like that means Garrett's still alive. So like we thought he was dead. Obviously he's still alive. So like we could have totally had a sequel about Garrett now trying to get revenge for making them kill Megan and causing this whole thing, but we don't. And also like we never figure out if anything happened to the living girls, being Cassidy and Ellie, because obviously Maggie knows like they were responsible for Megan's death. So like we don't know if anything happens to them, but I would have loved to see a sequel just because I fucking love this movie, and I would ingest anything Sorority Row for the rest of my life. I would ingest any piece of media Sorority Row wanted to put out. Like I love this movie so much. So we knew who was going to die of the main group because it was foreshadowed earlier. So like I said, when Mrs. Crenshaw gave them the bracelets, so Jessica, Claire, and Chugs are the ones to leave them behind, and Cassidy and Ellie put them on. So that's foreshadowing who's going to live and who's going to die. I could have done without Ellie and Maggie surviving, to be honest, and like having Cassidy be the sole survivor. I get why they had Maggie die so they could do this ending piece, because it wouldn't have made sense to show anything at the sorority house since Cassidy had graduated and everything. So I get why they had her live. I just wish Ellie didn't live too. I'm an Ellie hater. I'm sorry. Like I know she's the one in the end to like defeat him, but again, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like where did you suddenly get this strength to come back in and like save your sisters after everything else has made you fucking cry and whimper and weep like a fucking little baby back bitch? But again, maybe I'm just a hater. But now you also know why like I could never see the girl who played Jessica playing Ellie. And like it's acting, so of course she could have done it, I'm sure, but like seeing her in this role, I'm like nobody else could have played Jessica, and Jessica definitely could not have played Ellie. Like it's just, it doesn't add up. Like obviously they would have made her look different and like more nerdy or whatever, quote unquote nerdy, but I don't know. I'm just happy that the casting ended up the way that it did. So that is Sorority Row, guys. One of my personal favorite 2000s core horror movies. 2009, which was like a turning point in my life because that was the year that I like graduated 8th grade and started high school. So like it was a completely like, it was a very transitional moment in my life when this movie came out. So maybe that's why I feel like so connected to it as well. I don't know. I just love it so much and I'll never stop loving it. And I don't care what the haters say because I think it's fucking great. So now that we're done with 2000s month, let me tell you about April. And the exciting announcement I have about April is that I am doing an episode every Friday in April because, again, April is my birth month. I'm turning 30 on April 16th, and I'm doing the theme for the month, my favorites, and I simply have too many favorites. I just have to do an episode every Friday to fit them all in. So without further ado, here's the lineup. So first episode, Wednesday, April 2nd, we're going to do Grave Encounters 1 and 2. Grave Encounters 1 is my favorite, but I'm going to do the second one just to like make it a complete episode. And then that Friday, we're going to cover The Strangers, my favorite home invasion movie. And then Wednesday, April 9th, we're going to do Psycho, which is my favorite movie of all time. And that Friday, we're going to do The Possession, which is a terrifying possession movie that like is one of the movies that truly scared the shit out of me in my life. And then April 16th, which is my birthday, it's appropriate that we start the Scream series on that day. I mean, why wouldn't we? And we're going to do part 2 of the Scream series the following Wednesday. But Friday the 18th, we're going to do Signs. And then Friday the 25th, we're going to do Case 29. Case 29, Jesus fucking idiot. Case 39. Another one of my favorites that like scared the shit out of me the first time. And then we're going to round out April because there's actually 5 Wednesdays in April. So April 30th, we're going to round out the month by covering American Psycho, another one of my favorites. And there's some favorites that I am not covering this month, but I will cover them other months. Like, for example, that's not right. Lost Boys, I'm pointing if you are watching me at my poster behind me. Lost Boys is another favorite, and that's one that I will do whenever I inevitably do like a vampire month. So that'll be to come as well. But that's the lineup for April, guys. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes in April. Like, that's pretty damn fucking good if you ask me. So we're going to see how it goes. And that month will be starting on Wednesday, again with Grave Encounters. So I will see you guys then. Till then, you guys know where to find me on TikTok and Instagram. It's horror_chronicles. I post every day, so you can go keep up with me there. And until next time, watch more horror movies and stay spooky, my friends. Just kidding, I'm back because in editing this episode, I realized I totally lied to you guys, and I was thinking it as I was going through. I'm like, how is this a PG-13 movie when there are just boobs everywhere? And I reread the fact, and they did want to make it PG-13 because of prom night, but the studio watched it and was like, absolutely not. This is getting an R rating. So once they found out it had to be rated R, they apparently took that and ran with it and are like, just put titties everywhere. And that's exactly what they did. So I lied to you. Me and my friends must have snuck into this underage. Rebels without a cause, but at least we didn't have an Ellie in our friend group who completely gave us away and was just a crying baby back bitch. So, okay, love you, bye.